Roppstar gang, what up, what up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Welcome to the Roppstar Report. I appreciate everyone. Let me fix my mic because I probably sound like shit, but we're good now. We're good. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Happy Monday. I hope everyone's had a good start to their work week. It's back on track, ladies and gentlemen. It's back on track. We're back on track now. We just tied the NFC South race. Somehow became one of the Week 14's biggest winners without even playing a snap, which is crazy to think about, right? But again, if I told you that, you Panthers fans, that back in September that they'd be rooting for the damn Saints in December, most people probably would have laughed in my face, right? And then, yet here we are, and the universe is doing weird things, right? And one of the most unexpected breaks of the season, the New Orleans Saints stunned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-20 in that this past Sunday, or yesterday, I should say, right? Which is just, again, which is great. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me get to everybody in the chat real quick. Looking forward, Clay. What's up, Roy? Bees Knees, what's going on? Appreciate you joining the live stream. Eric Blair, what's good? Joust, what's good? Who else is in here? I think I missed someone. Amazing K, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Marcos, what's up, man? Appreciate you guys. So it's crazy to think about where things have come now, man. It's crazy where things are at. Like, would y'all believe me if I would have said, Carolina Panthers are going to be tied for first place in the NFC South? Like, if I even would have mentioned that at all, I don't think anybody would have believed me. I don't think anybody would have believed me. I'm serious. I really don't think anyone would have believed me if I sat there and said that we would have been there tied for first. Again, I just don't think anybody would have believed. You know what I mean? And now here we are sitting at the top of the division with the Buccaneers. Hold on one second, chat. I'm trying to pull this up. Try to pull something up for you guys. Give me 1 second. What the actual fuck? God damn. There it is. $99 fan for real. What's your opinion on AI? To what extent exactly are you asking? That should be the question. So again, we get one of the most unexpected breaks. Result flips us tied in the NFC South. We're sitting at 7-6, and we didn't do a damn thing. And now we came out of we came out basically of this past weekend as one of the biggest winners in the NFL. And now the path to the playoffs is so much clearer. Right? It's also going to be brutal. We got a 4-game stretch to finish. But the Saints help us out, man. I mean, a 2-win team, Saints help us out in this win to get us to where we need. Again, the Saints are one of those teams that are just so confusing. They're a messy football team, but they've marched in our house and spanked us. Then they go in Tampa Bay. They spanked them. Right? Right. And the Bucs it kind of just seemed like the Bucs let it happen. I mean, despite playing at home and despite being the more talented roster, in my opinion, and probably the better, better coached team, in my opinion, as well. They look like completely garbage for most. And this is a team, they face a Saints team, to me, that looked like complete garbage for most of the year. Shout out to my boy TJ of the State of Saints podcast. I mean, no offense, and I'm not taking any shots at TJ. Shout out to James. But Tampa Bay folded in the biggest moment of the year. Tyler Shook ran wild for them. 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 55 yards on the ground. I'm looking at the snaps here. Devin Neal stepped in for Alvin Kamara, found the end zone in that. Even Tampa Bay ran the ball well. They got 179 rushing yards in that game. They couldn't turn drives into meaningful points. And Baker Mayfield, I'm trying to get I'm going to put the Monday night game on. Baker Mayfield hit Bucky Irving for 1 score. Sean Tucker punched another one in. And really, that was it. It's just not enough. And I'll say this. The Buccaneers couldn't finish drives. 99 fan for real. I'm not here to talk about AI, man. That's for you to decide. My opinion does not matter, to be honest with you. All right. So honestly, I'm here to talk about Carolina Panthers and football, man. I could care less about AI and talking about if it benefits the human race or not. I think all I'm going to say is I think it has its good and I think it has its bad. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, final result, Saints win 24-20. Panthers tied for first place. Everyone, I don't think us Panthers fans said it loud enough for everyone in the back, but thank you, New Orleans. Thank you, New Orleans, because even though you beat our ass earlier this year, but thank you for beating the Bucs. Now, we need to beat the Saints, ladies and gentlemen, and we cannot take them lightly. Okay? All right? But you entered Slob DG 2126. If you want to talk about it outside of here, my friend, just follow me on X or Instagram and you can shoot me a DM. You think we can win out? We're going to dive into that. We're actually going to use the playoff machine on ESPN tonight. I'm going to break that down because they finally got it working. I'm going to show you guys multiple ways the Carolina Panthers can make the playoffs. And there's ways that they don't need to win out. All right. Slow clap for the Saints. Lightning not going to strike twice. Absolutely not. Carolina Rips good. What was that I was looking at? By the way, hello everyone. What's up, Trizzy? What's up, Trizzy? But again, man, again, we needed some help. I mean, we really need some help to stay alive in this division hunt because you got to think about it. Playing Tampa Bay twice. I mean, at this point, when we play Tampa Bay twice, you got the Saints who beat you earlier in the year, and you got the Seahawks who, surprisingly enough, I ain't going to lie to you guys, and maybe this might be a hot take. I think the Seahawks could be a playoff, a Super Bowl team the way they're playing. Now again, I'm just saying, chat. Oh, I love it. The Chargers are beating the Eagles. Absolutely love it. Got the game up on the screen, chat. Chad Anderson, Tampa signed Jason Pierre-Paul. There's no way. There's no way Jason Pierre-Paul's even in the damn league anymore. Yeah, that man's retired. The fuck? Get out of here with that. There's no way he's still playing. They did sign him. Holy shit, you were right, Chad Anderson. But he's on the practice squad, but still, I'm about to say that guy's about 50 years old. How old is Jason Pierre-Paul now? He's got to be in his 40s, no? No, he's 36. Okay, he's still going. That's crazy. Shit. Yo. That's what I seen. No, you're right, Chad. They did. They signed him to the practice squad. Damn Colts, despite they in talks with Phillip Rivers. I know the man hasn't played in 4 years. They're bringing Phillip Rivers in, hasn't played in fucking 4 years. I mean, they're desperate though, because I think Anthony Richardson's still on the IR. They've placed him on there, and I don't think he can come off now. It's too late. And then you've got Riley Leonard, who's dealing with, I think, a rib injury. Colts are in bad shape, man. If I was them, I'd try to go sign Matt Corral or somebody. You know what I mean? Or go sign PJ Walker. I mean, there's got to be someone out there you could sign that's on somebody's practice squad. You know what I mean? I never slept on Seattle. Their defense is real, and their defense scores points for sure. He's missing half a hand. Yes, he is still. What was that? A fireworks accident, Chad, that he had that with? Our defense is going to have to beat the Seahawks. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Listen, you can beat the Seahawks if you can rattle Sam Darnold. It doesn't take much for you to beat the Seahawks. It's getting Sam Darnold rather and locking down JSN. But back to this whole ordeal, right? Here's the wild part. Carolina now controls its own destiny. There's no hoping for random teams to lose. Now, again, there are scenarios that we'll dive into. No more tiebreaker nonsense. But no more scoreboard anxiety every week. You win, you stay alive. You beat the Bucs, you can take the division. I just think that Carolina needs to win out. Plain and simple. Do you think Tyler Shook is legit? He looks pretty. I mean, we might have to have a conversation, Mr. I don't know, Riotous. I'm Riotous. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Maybe I'm special. I don't know. I just can't pronounce that. Thank you for the $2 donation, though, my friend. I greatly appreciate that. It goes a long way. Every donation goes a long way. All donations go back towards the channel. So shout out to you for that $2 donation. Do we now regret not getting a pass rush via trade? That we're going to dive into that as well, Amazing K. Because there are some questions that need to be answered with these next 4 games coming up, right? And things that we need to improve, right? But this team controls its own destiny, man, because you can't get comfortable with the road that is ahead, man. I mean, you're tied for first place. It doesn't mean the NFC South is suddenly ours. The job's not done, man. You could lose this division. right? I mean, the real war is about to begin. So the next 4 games, you're at the Saints who just knocked off Tampa Bay. They beat you earlier in the year, right? Bucs at home. That's the one that Carolina has to win. That needs to win the most. Is definitely beating the Bucs at home. Play the Seahawks. You can listen. I think Carolina can beat the Seahawks. If you can beat the Rams, you can beat the Seahawks, right? Like, again, if you can beat the Rams, you can beat the Seahawks, right? And then you're back at the Bucs. You got a revenge shot against the Saints. You're going again. It's a gauntlet 4-game stretch. But it's also the exact scenario we've been begging for, though, in this situation. We've been begging for a situation like this, chat. Meaningful December football. When's the last time you could say that Carolina was in that route to having meaningful December football? Right? When's the last time we can sit there and say that the Carolina Panthers were looking at December meaningful football? You know what I mean? That's the question. You know what I mean? I think that's the real question. Because if you think about it, right, everything's on the table. I mean, again, the wild card picture is still alive. Carolina Real, we'll dive to your question. I see you spamming the chat. It's all good. Marcos, it's all good. I will get to your question, brother. I will get to your question. I promise. All right. I've seen it. I got it. I'm going to answer your question when we do the playoff machine. And I break down all the different scenarios tonight for us to make it to the playoffs. To your Super Bowl, I'm going to hold off on that. All right. All right. But again, the wild card picture is still alive. Again, it's messy as hell. Again, sure, the easiest path for Carolina is obviously to win the division outright. You beat the Bucs at least once, ideally twice. And then your odds are going to skyrocket, right? But if things are weird, things always get weird in the NFC. All right. The wild card race still matters. Seattle just crushed Atlanta. But listen, we know the Atlanta Falcons. They're no better than the Atlanta Falcons are a dumpster fire of an organization right now. And until they get rid of Raheem Morris, which I hope they don't. I hope they continue to keep Raheem Morris on that team, because I love what's going on down there in Atlanta. They're a good football team down there in Atlanta, man. I like it. Keep Raheem Morris. But see, the Atlanta Falcons are in a dumpster fire. They're paying a backup quarterback $270 million. Their franchise quarterback that they thought they had, and Michael Penix, I told them that those injuries are going to come back to haunt them, and look what's happening. And I told them that Raheem Morris is innocent until proven guilty, and the son of a bitch is guilty as charged. He's not an NFL head coach. Michael Penix is not a franchise quarterback. Kirk Cousins, you're paying him $270 million, and you refused to trade him at the trade deadline. That's why the Atlanta Falcons are where they are. The Saints are just in rebuild mode. That's where they are. The Saints are in rebuild mode. The Saints are basically where we were a few years ago. Okay? The Saints, again, they are the only reason why they're in the position that they're in is because they overpaid players throughout the years. Drew Brees retires, right? You know, Drew Brees retired. That was the end of that. Cam Jordan's on his last leg. Matthews left. Michael Thomas gone. Alvin Kamara's ready to leave, I'm sure. As much as he says he wants to stay there. But the real problem, is that they got a rookie quarterback. They got a rookie head coach. And they got a very promising rookie quarterback in Tyler Shook. In my opinion, I will say that. But the problem is with the Saints, I think, is until Mickey Loomis gets out of New Orleans as the GM, until he gets out of there, the New Orleans Saints are going to continue to be in rebuild mode year in and year out. Unless Mickey Loomis somehow proves me wrong. And TJ over there at the State of States podcast will tell you the same thing. I totally agree with TJ and them. But again, you look at the wild card picture, man. Like, we go look at the playoffs picture. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Because you got to think about it, man. Let me find it real quick. There's the playoff machine. So you're looking at it right now. You're looking at the playoff picture right now, right? I mean, it's messy. You just had Atlanta, right? If you're looking at this, you just had Atlanta lose to the Seahawks. The Rams still have to deal with, if you look at the Rams schedule, I was looking at it earlier. The Rams, you look at their schedule down here, they still got to play Detroit and they got to face Seattle again. Over here. So Detroit and they got to play the Seahawks again. Oh gosh, we got a Tampa Bay fan in here saying, as a Bucs fan, please win the division. I am tired of bowls. Interesting. I'm interested to see why you're tired. I'm interested to hear why you're tired of bowls. I'm intrigued because I've always said I didn't like him. But then you got to go back. Let's go back and look at the Packers. You look at the Packers schedule. We beat them, but they're at Denver. Right? I mean, the Packers could fall off, which could open a lane for Carolina. But they got to go at Denver, at Chicago, and then versus Baltimore at home, and then at Minnesota. They could go on a 2-3 game losing streak right here. I think they'll beat Minnesota at the end of the year, but they could lose 3 straight. But they also, or they could go 2-2. I see a scenario where they go in 2-2. I think they could lose to Denver. They could lose to Chicago at Chicago, but beat Baltimore at home and then at Minnesota. Could be interesting. It could be interesting. That's all I know. It's going to get interesting, chat. Now, I'll give you some scenarios here in just a second. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on the way in. All right. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on the way in. All right. Appreciate you guys. All right. Go, Hampton. Go, Hampton. There we go. I got Amari on hand. Your boy just won his first won his first round and the in the his fantasy team, fantasy football. I'm beating I just beat the defending champ in our fantasy football league. And I started out the year 1-4 and came back, and I'm 7-6. I made 3 trades this year. And your boy, and this is my big money league. And I'm beating the defending champ. How you done? Look at that, chat. Smoke 'em. Smoking a pancake. Looks like the Colts are broken, deflated, literally and figuratively. Tom Brady comes in here. What up, Brady? What up, Brady? All right, so here are all the ways the Carolina Panthers can win the NFC South and make the playoffs, all right? So here's the thing. I know that people are probably like, the NFC South is Carolina's only real path to the postseason. I'll be that. A wild card, forget it. Basically, dead on arrival. So the focus, I think, for this team is simple, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's break it down. Realistically, all right. So wild card, no. The NFC South or nothing. So basically, Carolina sits, right, 2 full games behind the 7th seed with the Lions. All right. Basically, right now, the Lions, I think, are the 7th seed. Because I think if the Chargers win, I'm pretty sure the Lions are the 7th seed right now. Pretty sure they're the 7th seed. If there was a but it says the Chicago Bears. Okay, never mind. So the Bears, okay, my bad. So the Bears are the 7th seed right now. But Carolina, but we're sitting 2 full games behind the 7th seed right now, which is the Bears, but with the Lions squeezed between them. Okay, so overtaking that mess with 4 weeks left, it's extremely unlikely. So the equation becomes simple. All right. Win the NFC South or go home. And I think we can win it. The question is how. So how can the Panthers win the NFC South? There's literally only 2 scenarios to get the job done. First scenario, which means that the Carolina Panthers finish 1 game above Tampa Bay, simply clean. All right. So which means, let's say the Bucs win, but we win. Okay, great. All right, we beat the Bucs. The next week, we're in. All right. Then, let's say we beat the Seahawks. That puts us 10-6, and we lose to the Bucs. That puts us at the 4th seed. So really, if that's one scenario. Of course, you could just win outright, but here's the thing. That means you at least win 1 game above the Bucs. Okay, so even if you lose to the Seahawks, all right, and you lose to them at the end of the year, the Bucs are in. All right, so you can't lose to the Seahawks. You got to be, even if you beat the Saints and the Bucs, you lose to the Seahawks. But the Bucs, see, the Bucs would have to lose to the Falcons. See, we would have to hope the Bucs lose to the Falcons this week. And then we beat them at home the next. And then they lose to Miami. If they lose to Miami and let's say they lose to Miami and let's say, where's the Seahawks game? Let's say we lose to the Seahawks. We're in. There's multiple ways. But again, finish with the same record, but sweep the Bucs. I mean, so basically, let's say this. So let's say the Bucs win there, we win there. Okay? We beat them there. We lose there, but they lose to Miami. I don't think that's right either. But let me clear it. I'm going to clear it out. But basically at this point, if both teams finish tied, Carolina wins both remaining games against the Bucs. Tampa Bay and the Panthers take the division head-to-head tiebreaker. Given how close the division is now and how consistent both teams have been, this is honestly the most realistic path, right? But to understand what Carolina's up against, we need to look at this. You look at the schedules. Like, again, you look at our schedule. All right, let's go look at our schedule real quick. Let me go find it. Hold on, chat. I'm going to give my kid a kiss goodnight. What? Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Okay. What? I love you. You want to put the picture in your room? What picture? Oh, well, here, put it in that room. You can hold on to it. You can hold on to it. You like it? Okay, sorry, chat. I had to tell my daughter good night. All right. So again, so there's multiple ways, but you go look at our schedule. Hold on, let me do this damn thing real quick. All right, so let's go look at our schedule. Again, the remaining schedule. We've got New Orleans. So you've got coming off the bye now. You got New Orleans. Bucs at home against the Seahawks, then at the Buccaneers. Okay? Let's go look at Tampa Bay's schedule. Okay? Okay, 99 fan for real. Get the fuck out of my chat with that bullshit. This kid's fucking gay. Get the fuck out of here. 99 fan for real is a fucking cunt. Sorry about that. Gonna get him out. Talk about dreaming of being a trans and then saying my husband. Bitch, I'm not fucking gay. You're fucking gay. Fucking weirdo. So on paper, Tampa Bay has an easier road, though. Oh, Marcos, you just missed his comments, man. Talking about saying, I hope that she dreams of being trans, and then talking about that's so sweet of you and your husband. I have a woman. I like pussy. Okay. I am what I eat. All right. Let's get that straight real quick. Fucking weirdo. Anyways, so again, Tampa Bay has an easier road. If we're being completely honest. All right. Yeah. Put them off the channel. Oh, I did. He's gone. Same guy that's talking about taking a survey for AI. All right. So the Falcons are a mess. The Dolphins are unpredictable as hell. Talented one week, incompetent the next. And Tampa Bay gets us twice. The Seahawks games really looms large for the Panthers. Like, that's the game. If we go look at our schedule. You look at our schedule, the Seahawks game is the one that is the most concerning to me. Right? Again, that's like that. The Seahawks game to me is like the Rams game. All right. Carolina could beat Seattle, but realistically, this is one of the toughest games again on their slate. If Carolina beats the Seahawks, let's say Carolina goes on this 3-game win streak where they beat the Seahawks, the Saints, then they beat the Bucs at home, and then they beat the Seahawks. We might have a big we need to have a conversation, because that would be huge. Now, again, the Panthers' most likely, in my opinion, path to the divisional title is you beat the Seahawks, which is strangely difficult for us and Tampa Bay, obviously, this year. You beat the Bucs at least once. I would say preferably week 16 at home. You lose to the Seahawks, okay? This wouldn't hurt their division shot if they take care of business elsewhere. And then you beat Tampa Bay again in week 18 and hope Tampa loses another game to cushion the blow. If that happens, the Panthers finish 10-7, and the Bucs, even if they win their other games, can't finish no better than 9-8. So that's the simplest, clean way to win the crown. What if the sweep doesn't happen? Okay, so that means Carolina beats the Saints, splits with the Bucs. That puts Carolina at 9-8. So to win that division in that scenario, right, Tampa must lose to the Dolphins and to the Falcons. That's the thing. Like, you can't split with the Bucs and then hope that you're hoping on other teams to beat them, right? You're hoping that they'll lose to the Dolphins, and you're hoping that they'll lose to the Falcons. I would much rather just sweep the Bucs. You beat the Saints, you sweep the Bucs, you lose to the Seahawks, you finish 10-7. And then the Bucs can't finish any better than 9-8. And you're automatically in. But if we do the same thing, we split with the Bucs. You know, you go to the Bucs, and then you have to hope that Tampa Bay loses to the Dolphins and the Falcons. Again, that doesn't seem likely to me, chat. Not really. Like, here, let's go back to the thing. So again, let's go back to the playoff machine. Let me get back there again. Okay. So All right. The Chargers are about to win that game. Anyways. So basically let's say, all right, we're not even gonna do anything. So Panthers win here. Where's Panthers? All right, Panthers win here. Let's say we lose to the Seahawks, but then we beat the Bucks, or we beat the Bucks. All right. This is the scenario I'm talking about. Once you're 10-7 here, like this, right? So we beat the Saints here. Let's say they beat the Falcons. Okay, week 16. Let's say, no, week 17. Sorry. If they beat Miami here. Again, see, but they can't win. Okay, because look, week 14 they lost. Okay, week 15. Let's say they beat the Falcons. They lose to us at home. They beat the Miami Dolphins. We beat them here. Okay. But let's say we split the series. All right. We lose to the Seahawks. But then you have to hope that they lose to Miami and then they lose to the Falcons here. That is the other scenario. Okay, which is not unlikely. That doesn't seem impossible, but absolutely not. I mean, the Dolphins are fighting for their own playoff spot and can be electric when they decide to show up. But again, the Falcons, we already know they're too. You can't trust their head coach. You can't trust Kirk Cousins. They've got injuries going on. They're a dumpster fire right now. So yes, Carolina can win this division without sweeping Tampa, but the odds drop off a cliff. I think we have, at this point, have to sweep the Bucs. Which brings us to the numbers. So right now, the current odds from what I'm seeing, all right, from what I'm seeing, we have a 32% chance of winning this division. Not amazing, not a hopeless, but pretty damn realistic, given the fact that Tampa Bay's got an easier schedule. We've also been one of the most inconsistent teams. 2 head-to-head matchups left against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Seahawks sitting in the middle like a landmine. I mean, our path is an undeniable uphill battle coming up these next 4 games. And there's a lot of question heading into these 4 games for me too, which we need to talk about tonight. But the path is, but you know, what matters the most now, chat, is that everything they need is right in front of them. They don't need miracle losses from random teams. They don't need some tiebreaker wizardry. They don't need a prayer. They need wins. Their wins, no excuses, like beat the Saints, take down the Bucks, handle business in week 16, and then the division's ours. Then the division is ours. So can the Panthers dethrone the Bucks? They absolutely can, but they have zero margin of error. Again, exactly, Jersey. That's really what I'm getting at, is that we control our own destiny. Again, it's just crazy to think about, though, chat. Like, when's the last time we've been in this position? Probably like 2017. It's a rare position for us to say that we control our own destiny. Well, again, we haven't had this feeling in a long time, and to pull us off, they'll need Bryce Young to be consistent at quarterback, which, again, we're going to talk about that tonight. I think he's loomed to have a big run. He's going to need to have a big run in these next 4 games, and I think he can, and we'll dive more into that here shortly. A defense that doesn't collapse late, which is great. A pass rush that ideally remembers, you know, where's our pass rush? That's another question. Dave Canales, is he going to stay aggressive instead of playing scared? That's another thing. I mean, the Bucs are a vulnerable team right now. The division is very vulnerable. We have a chance to kick this door down. That's the thing. Like, will it be easy? Hell no, it won't. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it right there for the taking? You damn right it is. You damn right it is, chat. Trizzy, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was something I wanted to talk about next. That's what I want to talk about next. I got to go find the injury update. So we got some good injury update news. It sounds like from, of course, our own coach, Dave Canales. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the update. Pretty sure we got some huge news. So Mike K posted up a bunch of stuff right here. If you guys can see that, I'll zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. Y'all should be able to see that. So there is some injury news and updates, by the way. Jaycee Horn, Claudin Cherelus are trending up, but they are still not cleared. So that's two of the biggest question marks really heading into this was Jaycee Horn. And I think probably Christian Roseman. We all know Tre'von Moehrig was coming back off that suspension, so he'll be back. Another one to me was Cade Mays and Cade Mays, of course. But again, these were all guys that seem to be back on the field, which is good news. All right. Horn and Cherelus, those guys suffered their injuries back against the 49ers. But I thought, again, even though the Rams game was so good, chat, I thought Horn's absence in particular has been glaring. He's been playing the best football of his career. And you losing your top corner against the Rams, you could definitely tell we were getting cooked out there. I mean, again, the defense stepped up, made plays. Don't get me wrong. Okay. And we pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the year without him, but we're better when Jaycee Horn's on the field. You know what I mean? Cherelus, meanwhile, has been, I think, been quietly a valuable depth piece in that linebacker room. He stepped into a big role when we had the injuries in that linebacker room. His availability matters more than it appears. Another thing is Robert Hunt's getting closer. He's not quite there yet. That's the major other update we saw. Again, he's arguably one of the best players on our offense when healthy. Unfortunately, health hasn't been in his vocabulary since week 2. But tore his bicep in that loss against the Cardinals, hasn't played since. We've now burned through 4 different different players to try to fill the void there at that right guard position. Brady Christensen, Austin Corbett, Chandler Zavala, of course, most recently Jake Curhan as well. The results have been really mixed, to be polite. Right? But translation, he's improving. It sounds like from Canales that he keeps saying he's getting closer. Apparently, they're going to open up his window this week. They say he's getting stronger. They would love to see him back at some point over the next few games. They're not rushing him back really to get thrown into the fire just yet. With a half-heel arm, that's fine. That's a good thing. I'm okay with that because right now we don't need to gamble with our best offensive guard probably best offensive lineman right now, especially with everything looming over our heads. But having a healthy Robert Hunt coming back for before the season ends, that would be huge, right? Because again, most of these returns are going to matter. Cherelus, Roseboom, Jaycee Horn, Cade Mays, Robert Hunt, right? I mean, we're walking into tied at the first place in the NFC South, right? And, he's not wrong. You talk about Dave Canales came out and says it's huge getting these guys back. He said he would love to have Jaycee Horn, Claude, Trey out there on, against the Rams. But you got to get it. But he said you got to get a lot of the guys love who stepped in and showed us what they could do, which is great. And he's not wrong. Getting Horn back gives the secondary one of its leaders, in my opinion. It's one of its best players, of course. Cherelus, back definitely stabilizes the linebacker rotation. Getting Hunt back whenever that happens instantly elevates this offensive line from even though it's been functional, it elevates it to a whole nother level. So this is the time of the year where when your depth gets exposed, weaknesses really get exploited, injuries can derail you, and it can derail your entire playoff push. We've seen that with teams. So we have to try to avoid that fate, right? I think the potential of these guys returning could make a difference between winning this damn division for sure. So, but it's good news because everybody's trending up the right direction, right? Justin, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining. I know you asked me a question somewhere. Who's this Isaiah Simmons? I see a lot of you guys asking about Isaiah Simmons. And I saw someone ask me if I'm going into games. Probably not this year. I'm not going to finish any game. I'm not going to go down the stretch. I probably won't. Love to, but I don't think I will. We'll see. Okay. Roppstar, I got a funny feeling Panthers are going to lose to the Bucs in Charlotte, then upset the Seahawks, beat Tampa in Tampa for a division. It wouldn't surprise me. That's how Panthers been rolling. So you're saying beat the Saints, lose to Tampa at home, upset the Seahawks, and then upset Tampa at home. But that would still put us at 10-7, and then we would have to depend on the Bucs, Trebo, to lose to Miami and the Falcons. So it's going to be tough, man. It's not going to be easy. What if it's a free ticket? I would go if it's a free ticket. I'd figure out a way to make it. It's a free ticket. I seriously would. I would do whatever I can to get a free ticket to go. I'm gonna be honest, Rob. Sorry, I don't think the Bucs look that good at all compared to Carolina. Well, I said it in my short clip the other day, Trebo, or yesterday. The Bucs don't look like the same team we've seen in years past. So I'll say that. Thoughts on Isaiah Simmons? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that question. My thoughts on Isaiah Simmons. It's a good question. Good Lord. I think it just really depends on, and I'll be honest with you. I think Isaiah Simmons is a great player. I think it depends on how the Carolina Panthers would plan to use him. Because he's an hybrid / linebacker safety type of ordeal. I think he's just one of those guys that has a lot of upside. He's a low risk, high reward. But again, he could come out here and really shock me. I mean, his best time was against the Arizona Cardinals, right? That was his best. That was his best time was against the Arizona Cardinals. You go look up his stats against the Arizona Cardinals. That was his best. And I think that he fits this defense with the hybrid role that he kind of plays. I think he's just one of those players that needs to be used correctly. I remember when everybody was pounding the table for him, for us to pick him up. I remember that. I remember that. Again, here's the thing about him. The thing about Isaiah Simmons that people don't realize coming out of Clemson, chat, and to D Lee Spills, I'm gonna say this. I think he's got elite traits. Like, I think he's a freak. He's one of the most athletic defenders probably in the league. People don't realize that. The problem is like the problem with him is he's never had a defined role in the NFL. To be honest with you, Arizona used him the best, but he still wasn't used correctly. New York tried him in a situational weapon. That didn't work. Teams want him to be everything instead of what he's great at, right? And I feel like it's almost like what Carolina tried to do with Simmons. Like, it's like what Carolina tried to do with Jeremy Chin. I think because of that, his growth stalled, like inconsistent as hell. One play, he looks elite. The next, he's out of position, late on the road, or late on a read. Sorry, not on the road. Late on a read. He's the best knock. He's been the biggest knock, but you just don't know which Simmons you're going to get week to week. Like, he's not a natural inside linebacker. Like, people wanted him to be like Luke Kuechly with sprinter speed. That was never him. He is more of a hybrid defender you unleash, not a middle linebacker you build a scheme around. But again, Simmons was one of the most athletic defenders coming out of that 2020 draft class. Like, he can run like a safety. He can hit like a linebacker. He can cover like a slot corner on his best days. There are maybe 5 players in the league with his physical profile. See, he can play linebacker. He can play nickel. He can play safety. He can play edge. He can have spy roles. Like, coaches love, like, people in the NFL love the idea of him, a versatile piece who can move around like you do in Madden, right? I've seen people, people who play Madden and who play fun or play online. They'll move players around in Madden, right? When he flashes, holy hell, there are games when he looks like a future All-Pro. Because I think he's one of those players that has the range. He has the speed. He has the instincts. He can make the whole field impact. The reality is that I think he's a kid that's still worth betting on because he's too athletic not to. He just needs a clear, defined role. He needs a defensive coordinator who can really understand him as a hybrid defender and put him in a scheme that really lets him attack and not think. Like, put him in that safety to linebacker hybrid role. Use him like a Jameer Brown or again, a Jeremy Chin. The early usages of Jeremy Chin, right? He can be a legit weapon. I don't think the kid's a bust. He's a player who landed in the wrong systems, I think, early on coming into the league. He never had a true identity to build from or built for him. You got to give him some stability, some type of direction, right? I think a coaching staff that actually knows what to do with him. You know what I mean? He can still be a damn good. He can still be a damn problem for offenses. But if he puts it all together and somehow Evero can get it out of him, watch out, man. Watch out. I think But that's my thoughts. I know that's probably more than what you asked for, but I've always been an Isaiah Simmons believer. It's probably because I always love, I'm always big fan of athletes, like the guys who are just freakish athletes. And I saw it firsthand with Isaiah Simmons. And I've seen him in live action. Trust me. Dude's a freak. Shout out to Steve-O. Tampa Bay will lose to Atlanta. Love that. Steve-O comes in again and says, if we beat New Orleans, Tampa loses to Atlanta. We beat Tampa at home. We win the South. I hope that is the case. Definitely can happen. It definitely can happen. But I do have some questions, chat. All right. I have some questions that need to be answered. Okay. Okay. I do have some questions going into these next 4 games for this team. All right. I do have some questions, chat. And it goes with Bryce Young. And it starts with Bryce Young. I really have basically 4 questions. And it's really for these final 4 games. All right. It's really for these final 4 games. All right. First things first. My first question, as you can see, with Bryce Young on the screen. Is Bryce Young finally turning the corner, or was the Rams game a mirage? That is my first question to you guys. Because Bryce Young has been the biggest question mark of 2025. Again, I'm not throwing shade at the kid. I'm not talking shit. I'm not bashing him. I'm just saying, again, we're talking about this kid with the expectation size of a damn skyscrapers after finishing last season strong. Instead of, he opened up this year again with the inconsistencies again, right? Frustrating. Far too many. What the hell was that? Okay. But 9 of his first 11 starts came with fewer than 200 passing yards, right? Then came the Los Angeles Rams game, right? And he somehow, some way turned the best version of himself we've ever seen. Again, it's crazy to think about that. Bryce, right? Beats the Packers, okay? Doesn't have the best game, but he goes out there and manages the game enough to beat the Packers. Then shits the bed. Against the Saints. Then goes out there. Puts a franchise record on the Atlanta Falcons' head. Then you're like, okay, was that the turning point? Then goes and throws a duck against the 49ers. Then goes out there and has one of the most efficient games against the Rams. Bryce Young somehow, some way turned the best version of himself we've seen, though, against the Rams. To be honest with you, I've said it before and I'll say it again, chat. I don't care what anybody says. I truly believe Bryce Young's best game was the Rams game. Not only this season, but maybe in his career. I know we've seen the 300-yard games. I know we've seen the 5-touchdown game. I know we saw the franchise record game. I know he's had 11 game-winning drives, right? We know the potential is there. We know the promise is there, right? Justin, I see your message, man. I appreciate that. You could DM me if you want. Maybe we can talk some logistics on that type of stuff. But again, there's so many scenarios with Bryce Young and his performances this year, right? So he goes out there, 3 touchdowns, 10.3 yards per attempt, career high 147.1 passer rating, all against, only because you're from the Dirty Myrtle. I appreciate that. All against the stingiest scoring defense in the NFL. This was, again, that performance against him, against the Rams, was no fluke. It wasn't like the receivers were bailing him out or the run game was doing the heavy lifting. That was Bryce Young playing with full-on confidence, in my opinion. Playing loose, finally looking like the quarterback we believe he could be. But one game, great game, again, guys, doesn't mean he's just fixed. The truth is that if Bryce Young regresses these next 4 games, right? You know, our playoff hopes can go straight into the trash. Now, if he continues to build momentum, if the Rams game wasn't a one-off, then the Carolina, then we become a dangerous team. Today, not 3 years from now, the entire postseason run hinges on whether Bryce Young is actually turning the damn corner, or at least was just another high point in that roller coaster of this season and really of his career. But I do think Bryce Young is prime at this point to really ignite a post-bye explosion I think nobody saw coming. I'm going to be honest with you. See, opportunities don't just knock. Sometimes it's damn near kicks the door down. All right? That's exactly what happened during this bye week, right? We didn't play a snap. We tied for the first in the NFC South because of the Saints beating the Bucs, for example. And again, I think Carolina, if we're really going to make this playoff push, chat, Bryce has to lead the damn charge, though. Bryce has to lead the damn charge. Shout out to Gary. I think Gary is a Saints fan, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Gary. Hey, buddy, I'm so happy my Saints won. But he is a Saints fan. Duh. There it is. But I'll be honest. I think we sweep y'all. I enjoy watching my NFC South brothers move up in the NFL. But hey, good luck, buddy. I enjoy the content. Thoughts. Well, unfortunately, Gary, we have to beat you guys. I mean, you say you hope us. See, here's the thing. You're contradicting yourself, Gary, because you say you hope that you hope that we take the division. Unfortunately, Gary, we have to beat you to take the division. So if you want us to take the division and hope that the Bucs don't take it, we have to beat you guys. We can't lose to you guys and think we're going to take this division. It ain't going to happen. So you're kind of contradicting yourself. But shout out to Gary, being a Saints fan, coming through here, showing some love. I greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Gary. With that $10 donation. Shout out to you guys. Everybody that's donated tonight, shout out to you, Steve-O, Tom Brady. He put $2.79, which is a random one. Mr. Riotous, and of course, Gary coming through. So shout out to everybody coming in here and showing some love like that. But anyways, back to what I was saying about Bryce. Bryce is going to need to be the spark and the lightning rod because what I mean by that is this. Bryce Young, to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you guys, has been polarizing since the day he walked into our building. Some fans are still not convinced that he's the guy. I'm one of them. Some people think he's absolutely the guy. I'm in between both. All right. Again, I need to be proven wrong, right? I still believe that. Again, I love what I'm seeing. I'm rooting for the kid. I want things to work out, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to be clear about that. If the team around him stops falling apart every other week, though, right? This offensive line, 10 different, rotations so far this season. You got a young receiving core. And then the offensive chaos from the play calling from Dave Canales, not staying aggressive, being conservative, coaching scared, that's what I'm talking about. But everyone agrees on one. I think everybody has to agree on one unavoidable truth. Young has to be more consistent if the Panthers are going to take this division. We have to be honest with that. Right? Donated a ticket. Did you now? What up, everyone? Keep pounding. What's up, derail? Shield Sunchild? You missed a super chat. I did? Which one? Oh, did I miss this one? I'm sorry, Steve-O. When Canales lets Bryce be Bryce, a full playbook, we get a special Bryce. When Canales sees Bryce make one mistake, he puts the cuffs on. That's basically true, Steve-O. I feel the same way. Shout out to Steve-O with that $4.99. I think that's the one I missed.
That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Shout out to Steve-O. All right. Panthers to the ball. Benji comes in and says, like I said earlier, Bryce is clutch, but not consistent, right? Consistency is key. Facts. Yeah. We all agree that the Panthers are going to the bowl. Benji, who, all right, if the Carolina Panthers are going to the Super Bowl, who are they playing in the Super Bowl? Good thing is by the end of this season, we'll know. And if we're going to make the playoffs, Bryce play is going to be the deciding factor. Rattler was scared to turn it loose, lose his job. I'm just saying I could see the Rattler on the Panthers wearing people out, especially with the Canales. Interesting. Jimmy, one Emmy 5, which I think it's either Timmy or Jimmy. Says the Bills. You know what would be sick, chat? I'm just saying, if the Panthers did make it to the Super Bowl, the Houston Texans. That would also be sick as well. I would either say I would say number 1, the Broncos, or the Houston Texans. Because it'd be sick to see Bryce and CJ Stroud battle it out for the Super Bowl. Or, again, I would love to get revenge on the Broncos. I would love that, Benji. That would be fucking sick. But again, to make it there, Bryce has to be more consistent. Much less if they're going to take this division, right? They got to take the division first. But to take the division, Bryce has to be more consistent. Inside the building, though, there's no debate. There's no hesitation. There's no doubt. I know that this organization believes in Bryce Young, period. We've seen the highs. We've seen the lows. We've watched him engineer late game drives like a seasoned assassin. Again, the youngest player to ever have 11 game winning drives. They know exactly what he can be when this offense stays balanced, right? And when the supporting cast around him does his job. Now they need him to be that guy, though. Not occasionally, not every other week, but at this point right now, chat, I hate to say it, we need Bryce Young to be that guy every damn Sunday from here on out, because the next 4 games, they're as clutch as it gets, right? Again, do I think that the playoff picture for fortune sits squarely on Bryce Young's shoulders? No, but he's definitely damn sure a part of it, because you're heading into the most important stretch of football almost in a decade. Not since 2017 postseason. But we're legitimately in our control of our destiny, and we haven't been in that since 2017, though. These are high pressure situations. This is exactly the environment Bryce Young has thrived in his entire career at life. You go look at Alabama. He turned pressure moments into highlight reels. He has historically piled up game-winning drives. When the game is on the line, you got to give Bryce credit where credit's due. He usually shows the hell up. That's just who he is. Now he needs to be that guy again, but I need him to be that guy 4 more times. The good news is the momentum shifting in our favor, right? Because, again, the Bucs are stumbling, and suddenly, again, Tampa Bay looks beatable. Again, I keep believing that. Tampa was supposed to cruise to another NFC South title, right? They started absolutely hot. They looked so stable. They looked so experienced at first, right? But if we're being honest, chat, they're sputtering. They're inconsistent. They've had injuries. They're getting guys back, but they just got punched in the mouth by a Saints team that's been sleepwalking through all season, right? But they beat us. Even with Mike Evans, I think they got Chris Godwin back now, but Mike Evans might be returning soon. But the Buccaneers, again, even with those guys back, I don't think they look untouchable. Hell, they barely look competent right now. I think for us, we're young. Yes, we're flawed. We're chaotic. We're emotional, but we're also hungry. We are a resilient football team, and we're playing the best football when it matters most. See, that's the thing. We have zero reason to fear Tampa Bay. None. Because the division is wide open. We have nothing to lose. The momentum is real. The opportunity is there. And now it's on Bryce Young to slam his foot on the gas, right? Here's the thing. Bryce Young's contract stakes raise the pressure he's built for that, right? Because people are already talking about his 5th-year option. That's another thing. Right? So he goes out there, right? He goes out there, right? And the next 4 games just kills it. He'll be getting extension before long, right? I mean, he'll be getting extension, much less a 5th-year option. And then let's say he goes out there and then wins a playoff game. Again, Bryce Young didn't win a Heisman Trophy, ladies and gentlemen, because he collapses under expectation. The dude has been built for big moments since college. Tight games, clutch drive, playoff stakes, noise everywhere. Again, he's a guy we've seen in clutch moments, not blink, process. He processes these times. He makes the adjustment. He competes. That's why I think we draft him overall. But what I think needs to happen too, not only for Bryce, not just Bryce. Again, I think that this, number one, I said it before, the way we played against the Rams is the perfect execution. Right? Is the perfect execution, because what we did against the Rams was we kept the run game alive. Right? Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard have to keep the pressure off of Bryce. Again, that balanced offense we saw against the Rams is perfect. Right? That's what makes Bryce Young the most lethal. Again, the offensive line must stay what they've been doing. The offensive line has been, even with the injuries, has been physical. They've been tough. They've even been very consistent despite those injuries. They have to keep that edge going. I need to see these receivers stay reliable. I know Tedero McMillan can be. Jalen Coker, though, needs to continue to step up, make plays. Rest of this young weapons need to keep showing up in big times. I'd love to see more out of the tight end room, whether it's Tommy Tremble, Jadavion Sanders, or Mitchell Evans. I want somebody to come out of this and be reliable for Bryce, right? But Bryce needs to embrace the pressure. Like, just go out there. Don't manage it. Don't survive it. Just embrace it. Thrive in it like you always have. And I think defensively, we've got to keep the defense must keep its transformation alive, right? They don't need to be elite. continue to be opportunistic, continue to be steady, right? Like we've been over the last few months or over the last month, really. Pull all that together and you've got a nice story, right? If Carolina reaches the playoffs behind Bryce Young, everything changes, right? Like if Bryce leads this team into the postseason in year 2 under Dave Canales, we're going to have an entire different conversation and outlook on this franchise overnight. The whole narrative changes. The whole criticism quits. The whole confidence grows. The contract decision becomes obvious. And then suddenly we're a team that's not rebuilding anymore. We're suddenly a team that is an absolute problem. We're suddenly a team that's a real one. We're suddenly a team, a long-term team, right? Again, Bryce does not have to be perfect. He just has to be the best version of himself and be consistent for the next 4 games. And if he does that, we're going to be a team that's not far away from the playoffs and from that respect that we're looking for. And then our future becomes absolutely bright. So that was my number 1 thing, question coming into this. My number 2 question, though, chat, and I know you're going to love this one. I'm going to pull this up real quick, chat. It's something that's been bothering me. This is, again, this is where I'm kind of frustrated, chat. This is where I think a big question. I know I'm using Google. I know I'm using AI on this. But I'm using it for right now because, again, the thing is I do have a question about this pass rush. This pass rush has been a disaster. And again, maybe disaster is a little harsh, but this pass rush is still a problem, right? This is a problem that needs to be fixed the next 4 games because we've been atrocious at generating sacks and pressure and getting pressure for 3 straight years now. Somehow this season might be the worst of the bunch. Yeah, we've improved from the defensive standpoint as a whole and overall rankings, but again, we got to think about it. This has been a 3-year trend. 2023, let me tell you this. The 2023, we were last in the NFL with 27 sacks. 2024, we are tied for 29th with 32 sacks. Last year, we're entering week 14, and we have a total of 18 sacks totaled, tied for 30th. Let's go to Fox. Fox will have it. Let's go to Fox. That's rushing defense. That's touchdowns allowed. That's scoring defense. That's red zone defense. That's third down defense. Here's sacks. Carolina Panthers in sacks. Okay, sorry. We're 31st right now. We are 31st. And the pressure rates have fallen off the cliff, chat. That's another total issue right there in itself. You know what I mean? We are dead last. We're basically dead last. Trey Henderson, you're a Carolina Panther next season. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, chat. I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that far, chat. KDW. I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, here's the thing. Listen, I get Trey Hendrickson and Derrick Brown on the same offensive line, but Trey Hendrickson has had too many injuries, chat. Too many injuries. Here's the thing. The pressure rates have fallen off a cliff, though. 2023, chat, we were 17.2% in pressure rates. That was 30th in the league. Last year, we were at 16.2%, and we were dead last. And then this year, we're at 14.7%. We're 31st in the NFL. You know? We're dead again. We're dead. We are dead last right now. This guy. Hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. I'm trying to do something. What is going on, chat? Hold on, chat. This fucking piece of shit. Why is my chat not going all the way down? Thank you. I don't know why. For some reason, my chat would not go all the way down. I was trying to figure out why that is, but I figured it out now. Anyways, like I said, or like I was saying, what's up, Juice World fan? Sorry, I'm looking at something here. I'm trying to see why my thing's not working. But I don't know. Anyways, so we were dead last in the NFL right now at pressure rates. We're at 14.7%. We've literally gone downhill since 2023, just constantly. So this is catastrophic. This is the type of shit that kills playoff pushes. 6 of their 8 sacks this season, chat, came in one game against the Jets, meaning that the Panthers, we've only produced 12 sacks across the other 12 games we played. All right. That is unthinkably bad. That is unthinkably bad. Okay? That's the thing. Derrick Brown leads the team with 4 sacks. A strong number for an interior lineman, but embarrassing when no edge rusher is even close to matching it. Rookie Nick Squarton has 3. Ashawn Robinson has 2.5. It just falls off a cliff from there. And the strip sack numbers are horrifying. Like, Carolina's only produced 1 strip sack all season, which was Derrick Brown's game-changing play against Matthew Stafford. Over the last 3 years, they produced only 4 strip sacks. So, again, we've got to be better in the pass rushing room, man. We've got to be better at the pass rushing room. All right. Because if the Panthers if we don't find a way to create pressure over the next 4 games, nothing else they do is going to matter. The offense could be great. I mean, again, I know that our defense has made a lot of plays and opportunistic plays, but Derek Brown can't do it all by himself, ladies and gentlemen. And Jaycee Horn is not going to be there every time to save the day. And Mike Jack's not going to get a pick 6 every single game. But again, if you can't generate pressure, it's going to be an issue. Like, you can't expect Bryce Young to be out there and be Superman. You can't expect Rico Dowdle to go out there and have one of his big games. None of that matters if you're not generating any pass rush. And if you're not generating any pass rush, then guess what? Then you'll see guys get absolutely cooked. I mean, I hope that's the case, Benji. I do hope that's the case, but I'm just being realistic. All right. I think that this team has what it takes for sure to make the playoffs. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I do think that this team has, again, we're just talking about it. I do think that this team has the chance to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. We're just going to need a lot of good stuff for our way. Right? But another thing is, too, I want to talk about something, though. There is a question that I do have about a certain individual, which I'm going to share here in a second. I got a question for you guys, and it's about this man right here. Here, I got a question right here for you guys. Where is that? Where is the NFL? Oh, no wonder. I was wondering where that was coming from. I was wondering where that's coming from. Here's a question, chat, for you guys. Can this man right here, Enrico Dowdle, right? Can we right here see this guy bounce back? Roll again. Like, if Bryce is going to thrive, again, absolutely needs to run game, get going. I think I do believe between the both, what we saw against the Rams, I'm okay with that. Okay. But I would love for this guy to pop off again. I would love to see Rico Dowdle spent the 6 straight weeks looking like one of the best running backs in the league, over 700 yards, 4 touchdowns, constantly getting chunks plays, tone setting aggression, right? He was the Carolina's offense engine, right? But I know the NFL makes adjustments, and defenses sure as hell have on him. Teams are now loading the box. They're daring Bryce to beat them. Dowdle's production has dipped hard, but then you had Chuba Hubbard coming off that calf injury, didn't do much. They really started working him back into the offense. You saw that against the Rams. Then the two-headed monster kind of did their thing together, honestly, right? But over the last 3 games, he's had 141 rushing yards over the last 3 games, 0 touchdowns. 3.27 yards per carry. That's a massive drop-off. It does become a problem that we can't ignore. Bryce has to punish defenses for stacking the box, but Dowdle also needs to reestablish himself as a threat. I think, again, I think Chuba Hubbard's going to do his thing. I think so. Rico Dowdle still will do his thing, but I would love to have that breakout Chuba Hubbard back. All right. We cannot afford again to be a one-dimensional offense heading into the biggest games of our season, right? If Dowdle finds rhythm again, it's going to be huge, right? It's going to be huge. So again, this offense immediately becomes more dangerous and Bryce becomes a hell of a lot more effective. So again, that was my question. So I've asked you guys my questions. The pass rush, can Rico Dowdle become a weapon again? Is Bryce Young turning the damn corner? Again, at this point, this team has fought their asses off to get to where they're at now. Now it's time to find out if they can finish the job because, again, we've got an opportunity, chat, staring at us straight in the face. Okay? Staring at us straight in the face. Okay? We own our own fate at this point. And if they screw this up, there's no one to blame. That's all I got to say, chat. Those are some nice boots. I know. I couldn't get them off the damn screen, chat. I'm sorry. Nothing I can do about that. Nothing I can do about that. I got me some nice boots like that as well. Rico has been hurting these last couple of games. Hopefully he'll be good to go. I believe he's going to show up and out. I hope so, Trizzy. And again, if not, Trizzy, I'm okay with what I saw against the Rams, right? Nice split backfield, a great balance between him and Chuba Hubbard. That's really it. That's really it. So, shout out to everybody in the chat. I think we went over everything I wanted to go over tonight. We talked about stealing the South. We talked about is Bryce Young, he turned the corner? Is he turning the corner? Can he lead this team? Right. To these next few games. Let's see. If I go look at the description of this live stream, I want to make sure I hit everything that I promised you guys. We talked about the playoff picture. We talked about the playoff odds. Let me see what else. I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight, chat. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with my with everything. I mean, what the fuck is going on with my internet tonight? It should not be any issue. I'm trying to make sure I got everything done for the night that I want to make sure I went over everything. Let me see here. Yep. Bryce Young heating up, real fool's goal. We talked about that. Major injury updates. Talked about that. The 3 issues that could derail this playoff run. Talked about that. Playoff odds. Talked about that. Every scenario. Talked about that. Talked about how we could dethrone the Buccaneers twice. Why the Saint upset changed everything. Talked about that. So we broke everything down tonight, chat. Now I don't got Spectrum, Justin. I actually have HTC, which they've been better than Spectrum. I've had Spectrum before. So anyway, shout out to everybody in the chat. Again, make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Again, NFC South Roundtable tomorrow night, 8 p.m. It's going to be a hell of a show. Okay? Y'all got to be there. NFC South Roundtable. Okay? You got to be there. 8 p.m. EST, NFC South, brought to you by Roundtable Sports. Okay, so make sure you guys tune in. I will see you guys there tomorrow night. I'm going to have some shorts come out to you tomorrow night as well. Then we'll go live Wednesday, and then I'm going to go live Friday. So we'll have lives on Wednesday and Friday this week. And then, of course, we'll do our live play-by-play on Sunday. All right. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys. As always, I will see you guys tomorrow night on the NFC South Roundtable, brought to you by Roundtable Sports. Other than that, guys, as always, keep pounding. Peace.